BBOR, Black Box Online Radio. Coming to you from West Virginia at heart and from around the globe. And hello, Nedheads. Hello, Black Box Battalion. Today is Thursday, and welcome to the Black Box Online Radio Thanksgiving Special for this year, for 2025. Everybody welcome, come on in, let's sit down, and let's go around the table. No, but in all seriousness, I would just like to say thank you for spending part of your holiday with me here on Black Box Online Radio. You guys know me. I'm Black Box Ned. Normally I come to you Monday through Friday talking about unsolved mysteries, such as the Zodiac Killer, the disappearance of Maura Murray, Jack the Ripper, the Black Dahlia, and D.B. Cooper on Fridays. And Thanksgiving is a holiday that is celebrated by my American brothers and sisters on this day in November. Of course, the Canadians are celebrating it earlier. And if you're from a different part of the world and you just want to celebrate Thanksgiving with us here on BBOR, I welcome you as well. So, in terms of the Thanksgiving celebrations for this year, I'm doing something completely different. Now, most of you know by now that I'm always coming to you from West Virginia at heart, but I'm, of course, in the Philippines, and we're not going to be doing turkey this year. We're actually going to be doing chicken, and it's going to be a rotisserie chicken. We're just going to have some potatoes and salad with it. Very simple, and it's going to take like 20 minutes to get ready, and it's going to take like 20 minutes to eat, and that's the way that I think Thanksgiving should be. You know, in America, to those of you who are from different countries, most people will spend all day in the kitchen. They'll spend maybe 6 to 8 hours, sometimes 9 or 10 hours trying to get Thanksgiving dinner ready, and then you don't really get to eat for very long. There are always an enormous amount of leftovers. And one of the biggest reasons why is it takes such a long time to cook the turkey. This year we're going to do a rotisserie chicken. And I actually like rotisserie chicken, which is weird because I don't like other types of chicken on the bone. We started a tradition in my family for Christmas when I was a kid where we would have turkey on Thanksgiving and roasted chicken on Christmas Day, like in the oven, just oven roasted chicken. And I think I was the one who was most excited for it. But I don't like oven roasted chicken. Like, I don't like eating chicken off the bone, mostly. I don't like oven roasted chicken, yet I was the one who was always pushing for it. I was the one who was always calling for it. I was the one who was always saying, you know, we got to keep this up. And I think it was because it was just nice to have something that was specifically for Christmas. And it looked really nice on the table. That's what we would have on Christmas Day in my house growing up. However, I never liked eating fried chicken on the bone. I told you I didn't like eating oven-roasted chicken. I love boneless chicken. I love boneless wings. I didn't eat hot wings off the bone until I was like 19 years old. I couldn't stand it. Then as an adult, in my 30s actually, I got hooked on rotisserie chicken. It's just cooked differently. It just tastes different. I do love rotisserie chicken, and I'm hoping that that's going to save us some time. But here on Black Box Online Radio this year, I'm going to be celebrating the holidays. Some of you guys came by for the Halloween special. This is the Thanksgiving special, and I will also be celebrating Christmas with you. And for Christmas, we already have the Christmas tree up here in my home, and we have an artificial tree, which I think most people are using these days, at least the people that I know on social media. And my wife decided to decorate it only with our silver and white decorations. And I actually thought that that was a little bit underwhelming. I'm like, are you serious? You know, she wanted to be in charge of that. But the problem is, though, she got the idea from me. And I was the one who showed her all these things on Facebook, like, hey, look at these people. They're just decorating their Christmas trees with only white and silver. Some people actually have plastic Christmas trees that are just done in the shape of crystals, again, with only white and silver. I'm the one who showed her all that stuff, and then she's like, this is how I want to do it. And we are married now. This is our first Thanksgiving and first Christmas together. And we've been living together for 3 years, though. And early on in that experience, I just had to learn that, you know, if she wants to decorate something the way she wants, then she can do it. I mean, I'm just going to let her have things like with decorations, and if she wants to do the potatoes a certain way for Thanksgiving, she can do the potatoes a certain way. for Thanksgiving. And when I talk to a lot of other married men, they are in similar boats and so on. But yeah, the Christmas tree is up. We've been playing a lot of Christmas music already, and I'm looking forward to the holiday season. Last year's holiday season was pretty tough and pretty rough. There were a lot of holiday blues, so I'm hoping that all of that stuff is going to go away. And I hope you're having a wonderful Turkey Day, and maybe you're going to be watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. You already know that I won't be having a Turkey Day. I'll be having a Chicken Day. But in terms of turkeys here in the Philippines, yes, we absolutely do have them. At the supermarket, they always sell Butterball frozen turkeys, the same that you could get at any American supermarket. And for 3 years, I've been looking at them thinking, maybe I should get one of those. But ultimately, it's just been something that I think has been a little bit challenging to cook because we don't have a conventional oven. And we had a super typhoon come in during the early part of November that destroyed all the turkeys. I'm not even joking. I'm not being silly. The super typhoon ruined all the turkeys, maybe rather than destroying them, ruined the frozen turkeys, that is, so they don't sell them anymore. And I'm just thinking, well, we were planning on having chicken anyway, but that is very, very unfortunate, and I do mean that. But, since I've been in the Philippines, I've had the opportunity to try their fire-roasted turkey here, which is done somewhat like rotisserie, except it's just turned over the open fire, kind of like an outdoor flame, and you just turn the turkey, and it's so much smaller than the American turkeys. I'm guessing that it has no water injected into it, no hormones, none of that terrible stuff that makes the turkey taste great, but it definitely has all of those juicy fats. If you ever get to try fire-roasted turkey that has only been eating natural stuff, it's pretty cool. Okay, so that's the holiday rundown for Black Box Online Radio. And right now, I would just like to give some thanks to people who have been helping out a lot with the channel. And on the Halloween episode, I thanked all of the members and subscribers and supporters on buymeacoffee.com, buymeacoffee.com/blackboxned88. In this episode, I would like to give a special thanks and shout out to Dennis G, who has been helping find a lot of the images that you see going by on the screen, and especially a lot of images for this Thanksgiving celebration. So you guys heard everything that's going on during the holiday season with me. I want to talk to you guys as well about some of the updates with the channel. Black Box Online Radio mostly focuses on unsolved mysteries, which means that I'm planning on bringing back Astro Psych 400 in the future. That was my secondary channel that was originally supposed to talk about astrology and psychology. Right now, just psychology, and I'm going to be making a few episodes on Astro Psych 400. Even yesterday, I was polling you guys, and I was just asking, do you want to hear about some of these psychology things here on BBOR? And the majority of people actually voted yes. And normally I just go with the majority vote in the polls, but there was a very large portion of individuals who just said that they want to hear that on AstroPsych, or they think that BBOR should focus on unsolved mysteries, and I'm going to hear them out on this one. And also, there's a very big schedule on Black Box Online Radio coming to you Monday through Friday. Feel free to start your morning with some content related to unsolved mysteries here. And one more time, you can hit the like button and subscribe, as well as, of course, getting the show for free downloads at Black Box Podcast on Spotify. You know about Facebook and Instagram. But I'm going to be releasing some things on Astro Psych 400 over the next 12 months. There's not going to be any fixed schedule. It's just going to happen periodically if I find something in the true crime world, maybe a book that's about psychopaths or something, that could be incorporated into an episode of Astro Psych 400. But it's just an opportunity to talk about something different and explore some different content. Now also with Black Box Online Radio, to those of you who follow the Zodiac Killer mystery and listen to the Zodiac Monday segment, maybe you'll remember that I've been doing some things that have been combating AI and the wars against AI, artificial intelligence, that is spreading disinfo about true crime cases and unsolved mysteries. And the famed FBI profiler John Douglas firstly sent out a Thanksgiving message to all of his followers, simply saying, Happy Thanksgiving. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you too, John Douglas. But he also released a post recently talking about how somebody was using his name to release AI-generated books. that were between 50 and 80 pages long, that again were, it was somebody trying to pass themselves off as John Douglas, the most famous FBI criminal profiler of, well, of all time, I guess. And he was just simply saying, no, this isn't me. I hope no one bought any of these. But he was addressing a scam. AI is going to be getting worse and worse. And people are going to be using AI to write their books, to generate scripts, and to make entire YouTube videos. And I swear by this, like sometimes you can tell when something is an AI generated video or YouTube channel and it's being overseen by a person. It's at least being organized and edited by a person. And other times, it's just slop. And it's not only YouTube videos, memes on Facebook, factoids that get shared, news headlines, all kinds of things that are untrue, that are being shared purely for the sake of popularity. And if people want to do this with entertainment, I have no problem with that. If people want to put things out because they just want to have, some type of funny little joke or some type of funny video of a person, dropping a pizza when they're trying to deliver it, that's fine as long as we know that it's just designed to make someone laugh. Like this person stealing John Douglas's name and selling AI generated books, that's criminal. I mean, that's illegal. I mean, that person should definitely face some consequences. They should not be doing that. And what they also shouldn't be doing is using AI to spread disinfo about true crime cases. Like getting AI to generate a script and then there's putting it in a book without verifying any of the information. Because a lot of people do not want to admit this, but technologies like AI, and even using some of their predecessors like ChatGPT, they are not up to date. They are not perfect. They're still in their infancies, and I do mean that, infancies, because these things have the ability to generate content. Like it can make a script, but it's not going to purely take correct and factual information and organize it. It might be able to do that in the future, but as of now, AI can't do that. But people don't care. Some people are just taking that stuff, they're putting it in to books, and then they're just putting it on Amazon. And I hope that, if anything, some of the segments that I've done on Zodiac Monday have highlighted this problem. And I hope that, if anything, if you're still listening to the Thanksgiving special at this point, I also greatly appreciate you. But I hope that this is just bringing awareness to this particular issue, and I'm going to keep doing a lot of that on Zodiac Monday. And yes, Zodiac Monday is not going anywhere here on Black Box Online Radio, and Zodiac Monday is just going to be continuing throughout 2026. Goodness, 2026 already. We're halfway through the 20s. I feel so weird when people are calling 2025 the 20s. I mean, the 20s were like 100 years ago or something like that. And I still think of the 20s as people in silent films and the flappers and that old music that sounds like old music because it is old, not 2025, 2026. But the upcoming things that are going to happen for Black Box Online Radio in the near future are going to be that I'm finally going to start interviewing for a co-host. And this isn't something that I've been delaying. It was in the time frame, it was in the schedule. I planned to start in December. In December, I was planning to look for a co-host for Black Box Online Radio, and I have to give a shout-out to Lehman, who said something in the comments section about how if I were to have a co-host on BBOR, I should find someone who is unbiased and doesn't have a suspect and is not partial or giving too much credence to any particular suspect. And absolutely, absolutely. I agree completely. That is one thing that I was always planning on looking for. If I were to have a co-host on any of the BBOR shows, this would have to be somebody who does not have a Zodiac killer suspect, or hopefully not a suspect in any of the cases, because it would be very difficult to do Zodiac Monday or Ripper Wednesday or Cooper Friday with someone who has a suspect and they've already committed to a particular theory, because at the end of the day they would just say something like, no, Arthur Lee Allen wasn't the Zodiac Killer. Well, why do you think that? Because I know who the Zodiac Killer was. It was this person. Now, some people are committed to their theories, and they have every right to do that, but I would really like to discuss these issues with someone who is more in my camp, who doesn't quite have a suspect yet, and is not committed to a theory, but open to that. If I found the right Zodiac killer suspect, absolutely, I would endorse the theory if I was convinced. And I think a lot of people who listen to this program are in a similar boat where it's not that we think that these cases are unsolvable. I get asked that all the time. Do you think we'll ever solve the Zodiac killer mystery? Do you think we'll ever solve the D.B. Cooper case? And with the Zodiac case, yes, I think it's possible. Yes, I think it's solvable. It might not have the highest chances, or I might not be as optimistic as I was in the past, but I also think that we might be able to identify a suspect, and to our satisfaction, we might be able to think that we've found the right person. Lots of people think that they have found the right person, or people, plural. I think I might experience that in my lifetime, where I'm able to tell you, all right, I'm pretty sure I know who the Zodiac was, this is who he was, this is how he did it, and this is the entire package theory. I might get to that level. I just haven't found the right suspect yet. If anything, I don't think it's the Zodiac sleuths that are slowing down. Again, I really think that people who are following the Zodiac killer mystery are just full steam ahead. It's the D.B. Cooper crowd that seems to think that the chances of solving the case are a little bit more difficult. And yes, today is now Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you all once again. And Thanksgiving in the true crime world is the day after the D.B. Cooper skyjacking. November 24th, 1971, a man using the name Dan Cooper boarded a plane going from Portland to Seattle. He gave the flight attendant a note saying that he had a bomb in his briefcase, and he demanded $200,000 and 4 parachutes. You guys know the story of D.B. Cooper. I talk about D.B. Cooper every Friday here on BBOR, and I've really found just from my conversations with people in the vortex, they're saying that they're less and less optimistic about solving the D.B. Cooper case. And also when I'm watching other D.B. Cooper shows like the Cooper Vortex, I hear those things when people are like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? We might never get answers, because a big difference between the D.B. Cooper case and the Zodiac case is that it was only one day of activity, one location, Flight 305, to collect physical evidence from Dan Cooper, aka D.B. Cooper. What did Vincent McConnell start saying? Dan/D.B. Cooper. That's a good way of referring to him. And ultimately, they're a little bit frustrated. But, there is a lot of talk about some of the new things that have come out at the most recent CooperCon. Ryan Burns did a presentation on his new D.B. Cooper suspect, but he still doesn't seem to talk about him very publicly. He throws in a comment here or there, and I'm not necessarily sure why. I know that Ryan Burns has written a book called D.B. Cooper, the FBI Files, which is mostly going to focus on just that, responding to the FBI case file and so on, as opposed to identifying a particular suspect. And even on his D.B. Cooper Sleuth channel, he also said that he is not planning to write a book about his most recent person of interest. But the new D.B. Cooper black box recordings have been released. Not my black box recordings, their black box recordings, and I'll be talking about some of that tomorrow on Cooper Friday. You can always check out some of the content related to the unsolved mysteries. And yes, I'm still continuing with the Cooper Profile segment, which is all about the psychological profiling of skyjackers. I like to end the episodes with that one, and to just look at skyjacking in its entirety and relating the material to D.B. Cooper. That is something that I'm not sure if it helps or hurts my episodes in terms of the YouTube algorithm, but it's absolutely fascinating to me, and that is something that I simply can't get away from. When I started Black Box Online Radio, it wasn't just about, let's see if I can get 1 million views. No, you're not going to get 1 million views by putting a black box on the screen, unless you're already famous. No, that definitely did not happen, and I didn't expect it to happen, but it was really just about talking about things that are fascinating to me, and also sharing my explorations of these subjects with you guys. And this is what I'm focused on right now, the psychological profiling of skyjackers, mostly looking at the writings of Dr. David G. Hubbard, who was a pioneer in the field, and I've talked about going back to the university to study his material. All of that is on track as well, I guess. Some of the new updates for the channel is that I've been doing a series on the disappearance of Maura Murray, which comes out every Tuesday, and the thing I wanted to do for that was work through the Media Pressure podcast, and I'm going to be doing that in December. And then once that has been completed, I might move back to the murder of JonBenet Ramsey. Earlier this year, I did a very large series on the disappearance of not the disappearance, but I guess we should say the murder of JonBenet Ramsey. She was a missing person for a very brief amount of time, but yes, on the murder of JonBenet. And my explorations into that story, I feel, are incomplete. I don't believe that I have finished that. But that is really the time when just talking about a true crime case got to me. And I think it's purely because JonBenet was a child and the horrible, horrible things were done to her. And people warned me that I was going to feel that way. I didn't feel anything when I was 30 years old and I started talking about JonBenet here on Black Box Online Radio. But once I entered into my 30s, my late 30s, I'm 37 now. Once I entered into my late 30s, yeah, I do it just absolutely bothers me. So I took about, oh goodness, let's see, 4 or 5 months off from that case. Maybe by the beginning of next year, I'll start making some more episodes about JonBenet. And if I could solve any case here on Black Box Online Radio, it would be the murder of JonBenet Ramsey. When I used to do the True Crime Talk Radio in the morning segment, where I would just go live, I would get asked that all the time. Out of the cases that you follow, which one would you like to see solved the most? And I always said the Zodiac Killer. I always said the Zodiac. Now I would have to say something different. I would have to say the murder of JonBenet Ramsey, because she was 6 years old, and she absolutely did not deserve what happened to her, but it's exactly what her parents said when they titled their book, The Death of Innocence. And it's an absolutely heinous and atrocious crime, but I do completely admit none of the other victims in the Black Box Online Radio cases that I follow, like the Zodiac, Jack the Ripper, and the Black Dahlia, deserved to be murdered or deserved to have any of those terrible things done to them. It's just because she was a child, I guess I think about it more differently. And also on this channel, for the month of December, I'm going to be doing some bonus episodes about the Zodiac Killer, which will be coming out on Thursdays in place of Dahlia Thursday. And I'm going to do this in the AMA tradition, where it will be just Zodiac, Suspect, AMA, and when I said suspect, that's mostly like inserting someone's name. And I realized that there were several suspects that I haven't done this for in the past. Earlier in my explorations into the Zodiac Killer mystery, I did a series of episodes called just that, Zodiac Suspect AMAs. I did them for Ross Sullivan and Richard Gaikowski, Gary Post, even one for Robert Ivan Nichols, Shel Cavalli, and earlier this year I made one for Lawrence Kane. And in case you're wondering, no, I didn't make one for Arthur Lee Allen. Instead, I called the episode Zodiac Killer Arthur Lee Allen Extended Edition, but I've talked so much about Arthur Lee Allen here on this channel, I think that I would only do that if there was a very big request. But it's an AMA, right? Ask me anything. That means that I'm responding to your questions and comments when we're going through the material together and having a discussion. So, some of the suspects that I'm hoping to talk about are Xenophone Anthony, as well as Gareth Penn. And, if anybody has ideas for future episodes or some suspects that I haven't covered for this particular series in the past, I would love to hear it. Maybe even Paul Doer could be worked into that. I made one episode about him earlier this year, but that was literally just my first episode about Paul Doer. I've done them on the books, like the books that have been written about him by Jarrett Kobach, Motor Spirit and How to Find Zodiac. I have discussed Paul Doer a whole lot and all the materials there, but I made an individual suspect profile episode about him, as well as one about George Hodel, which came out last week. And guess what? Not a whole lot of people wanted to hear about George Hodel as the Zodiac Killer. And in a lot of ways, I'm not surprised, because I mostly did that because of Dahlia Thursday. I'm following the Black Dahlia case and the Zodiac Killer case. He is the most widely discussed Zodiac Black Dahlia suspect. He's the biggest suspect in the Zodiac Black Dahlia connection. But I'm going to do this Zodiac Suspect AMA series, and then I'm probably going to get back to Black Dahlia material, because it's going to be the same experience as I had with the JonBenet case, where it's not done, it's incomplete, and I haven't learned everything. There are very specific things that I want to do with the JonBenet Ramsey case. Very specific pieces of literature to explore, very specific parts of the case file that I'm curious about, things that I've been told of, but I need to verify for myself. That's with JonBenet. With the Black Dahlia, it's almost exactly the same. I mean, I haven't gone through the Black Dahlia in Hollywood. I haven't done all of the suspect profiles yet. I haven't finished books like Black Dahlia Red Rose by Pugh Eatwell, or even Severed by John Gilmore, although I did 3 episodes about the book Severed by John Gilmore this year, and that might be the most famous book on the case, not to mention Black Dahlia Avenger, which is also from Steve Hodel. So there are lots of things to explore here on Black Box Online Radio, and this channel is mostly going to focus on unsolved mysteries for the foreseeable future. Although, I do release shorts and reels Monday through Friday here on YouTube as well as on Instagram and Facebook. You guys know where to find me on Facebook. My name is Ned Dehan, Neddehan, and then there is Black Box Online Radio on Facebook. I use the Black Box Online Radio Facebook page more now to release the shorts and reels, and I'm also going to put them out still on Instagram, blackboxonlineradio, and in the past, I always used Instagram like obsessively. Maybe it was because I used to do a bonus podcast on Instagram. Some of you guys might remember that, the way that I would introduce the show. BBOR, Black Box Online Radio. Coming to you from West Virginia. Black Box Ned 88 on Instagram for the bonus podcast. And I did the bonus podcast all the way until 2023. And during the pandemic, during COVID, I think it was during COVID, maybe it was even 2019, I started the bonus podcast where it was something that was a daily journal. It really was just a daily journal because, well, firstly, I was exploring a lot of stuff in 2019, and in 2020, we had the pandemic going on. So firstly, we had to stay at home, and then I had that job where I worked as an evening watchman, and I was allowed to listen to content while I was working, listen to podcasts, audio, all of that stuff, reading books, and I could always just talk about something because, even when I'm going to work, I can still talk about a bazillion types of ideas. So the daily journal went on for a very long time, actually. And that's actually what prompted me to write my book series, The White Horse Killer Saga. The first one was called Killer on a White Horse, A Story of the Evening Watchman. And I put the audiobooks out on YouTube, and that is something that started on Amazon, but ultimately, I just realized that the content on Amazon was not suitable to share to the public, and thank you to everyone, though, who has read the book, but I was like, I can't really keep this up there, I'm just finding all of these little mistakes as I'm going through my old manuscripts, and I was like, I gotta take this down, but one thing that I could do was make an audiobook version and put it out online. Ultimately, that's what happened. I started it last year, but I realized that the White Horse Killer Saga was not complete. And this year, I made, not exactly a resolution, but I decided that I was going to finish the White Horse Killer Saga, and the final one came out, The White Horse and the Sun, by me, Ned Dehan, and you can hear all of this stuff in the White Horse Killer Saga playlist, which is available here on YouTube, if you just need something to listen to help you through the days, and then I encourage you to check that out. Well, guys, I think you've heard absolutely everything about the channel, about my celebrations for this year, and about everything that's going on in the world of BBOR, AstroPsych 400, and this company called Switchforce Media, which, as of now, is a one-person operation, but it's soon going to be a multi-person operation. It's a one-person operation with me and volunteers who help out, but it's soon going to be a real company that's going to have employees, and that is a little bit surreal, but, a lot of big changes have happened. Like I said, I got married recently, and the wedding day was pretty surreal, just the fact that it's finally here. These moments are actually happening, and finally getting married and all that. Yeah, it's a little bit larger than life, but at the same time, it is real life. It feels like it's larger than life, but it's not. And now, you truly know everything about what's going on with me. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Maybe you're, watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Maybe you're going to be watching a whole lot of football. Maybe you're just going to be sitting around with your family eating some turkey, or if you're not into that, you're just going to be chilling. And I mean, I really found this though. The more conversations that I have with people about Thanksgiving is they don't always go for turkey. Instead, they go for things like ham. A lot of people in West Virginia do ham for Thanksgiving. And I was actually in an Uber last year, and the driver was telling me that his family started this tradition where every year they do something different. Like they have something different. One year it might be turkey, one year ham, one year it might be steaks, one year it might be like me, rotisserie chicken. Every year they have something different. And I'm actually in a Facebook group that was just talking about TV shows, and somebody posted that they knew this one family that went out to Denny's every year on Thanksgiving, and just that's their family tradition. And I'm just like, more power to you, whatever you want to do during the holiday season. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. I'll be back with you guys for Christmas, maybe New Year's, depending on the time frames and how things go out. But I think that you guys know about most of my New Year's resolutions already, but yes, of course, I have to celebrate Christmas with you guys here on Black Box Online Radio. I've been doing Christmas celebrations for about the past 7 or 8 years now. Why stop now? So thank you for listening to this giant blend of holiday cheer and true crime updates, unsolved mystery updates. One more time, have a wonderful day. From my family to yours, happy Thanksgiving, and until next time.